You're looking live right now at her studio. That big dog.
Yeah, what's left of it.
The big dog trash.
Thank you, Bailey.
Now, I understand we play second fiddle to a historic rock band that's been shooting music videos in here, KK Wild.
He's a loser. He says, I'm on the way to the house to drop off my tea. Then I'm coming there.
That sounds right. That checks out.
That he stole from Easy's because he's too cheap to pay for it.
Oh, does he just go in there with a bag and steal it these days?
I'm sure he does.
I love it.
Oh.
How's it going, guys? Just filling up my bag.
He's the king of stealing drinks. That's literally what he does. He steals drinks from everywhere.
He's taught me that from a young age. You don't pay for a drink anywhere you go. But now filling up the gallon bag at a restaurant's
a step farther.
That's a wild move. He'll just say, your water tastes like shit, and walk out.
He called me autistic the other day. The guy walks around the fucking house, at his own house, talking to himself. Like, literally, when I'm over there, like, I'll be like, Mom, what is he doing? And
brilliant minds.
And I said, has he always done this? And she's like, oh, yeah, since we were, like, 20 years old. I mean, he's got not a screw loose, multiple screws loose in his head. It's absolutely ridiculous. He said, I have shit to do. I'm working. What does he have to do? What does he do here all day, honestly? I mean, he films himself with makeup and shit on. Look, we got a fucking fog machine over here. It's ridiculous. Let me see if this thing's ready.
Oh yeah, we want the people to see the fog machine here.
No, it's warming up. We're warming up the fog machine right now. This is ridiculous. Yeah, this is. He won't let us use the third camera, so we have no camera on Turner today, which Turner's probably not upset about. But
don't care.
I am upset.
I can work in any conditions.
We know that. We understand.
A professional.
Do you even have a KK Wild soundtrack CD?
No,
do you have them on Amazon Music or Spotify?
I don't.
So you're not a real fan. You just fake it.
No, I'm a real fan. I didn't know they were on. I didn't know they were all those.
They're probably
places.
not, because they're worthless. I mean, literally, the funniest shit is when we go eat, and like. This will happen probably like once every couple months. I swear to you. This happens in Las Vegas too. Every time somebody will be like, man, you look familiar. You look like you're in a rock band. And he'll be like, oh yeah, I was in KK Wild and Kid Curry. And they're like, nah.
That's not it.
You're like, nah, not that. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. You look familiar. We were at Texas Roadhouse the other day, probably like a month ago with my uncle for his birthday. And some lady came up, and he was so excited, like they were gonna say he knew who he was, and they were like, "You look so much like my brother-in-law," and they're showing a picture of it. Can we take a picture with you? And me and Chip are fucking dying laughing because he's just so not what he thinks he is.
Listen, big dog is big time.
Do you know that Bailey said he has 7? He's shooting 7 music videos. Fucking 7. 7 music videos. No, possibly means it's happening. Like,
so when he does it, do the other guys come in with him, or is he solo?
He's solo. It's just him. He
just a cocaine cowboy singing.
He does his own makeup. It's a shit show over here. I don't even know, like, what is he even shooting it for? Nobody listens to his music.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
No one cares.
We've already talked about this. He's like searching for sugarmen over at North Korea. He's huge, huge in North Korea.
If anybody, he said just now, no, I'm not doing makeup today. He wears makeup on a normal day, so it doesn't matter. Wow. Yeah, this is ridiculous. And this is just absolute slander. You probably would defend him if he was here, is what I'm thinking. Honestly, I think if he was here, you might have called him neurotic when he wasn't here. And
no, I admitted that I called him. I admitted that I called him neurotic.
I'll hand you that you did. But you said it was a shit show when you walked in. But then if he was here, you'd be like, oh, big dog, you're just flying high, 5,000 feet.
No, first of all, 70,000 feet. Okay,
70,000.
He's basically a fucking astronaut. Secondly. He has to get the people what they want in these music videos. The people have spoken online. They want 7 music videos.
He has 900 fake subscribers on YouTube. They're not even real.
First of all.
So I don't know what you're
those
talking
are
about.
all your dad.
887 of those are bots. I've seen
some of the fan mail. He's listen, we're gonna have to let him defend himself when he gets here. Get the fog machine going. Let the people know
All right, here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Holy
We're
shit.
hotboxing. We're hotboxing the set.
Oh my god. You weren't lying. This is fucking professional shit in here, all right?
Are you filming this?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to Big Dog.
Should I stop it or let it go?
No, keep going.
Keep. Well, should we just start going on some sports topics here? With the fog going? Oh god.
Yeah, we can't. Oh man,
I mean,
there's a lot of fog. It's just a little sneak peek of the KK Wild music videos coming. You're dead, bro. I got meetings today. My schedule changes. I have major things going on. All right, I don't get up at 12:35.
No, in all honesty, like he can come on today and he can do his little spiel because he was suspended because my mom wouldn't let him come on the show because he can't control himself. So this is his last time on the show. If he wants to come on today after this, he's not allowed. Just called being a great American. No, I'm so done with that.
I do love the story that Bailey that he does go into Easies and just steals the tea though. That's awesome. Like going in with like a cup is kind of a rookie move. Anybody can get away with that. But the fact that he goes in with like his gallon bag and just steals tea is fucking awesome. I have so much more, even more respect than I've already did for Big Dog.
He's definitely.
I know. That's how. That's like his drug. That's how he lives life on the edge. He's like, I'm going in there. I'm doing this, stealing this tea.
We were playing golf the other day. He hit the neighbor's house on hole number 1, and I said we should leave, and he said, no, fuck them. If they come out, I'll tell them to go fuck themselves.
Did they come out?
They didn't come out, thank God, because he probably would have.
On number 1, just like right.
Yeah, he just to the right. The one that the new people moved in up there on number 1.
I've hit in that house a few times.
I mean, everybody has, but it's just the fact that he doesn't care that he hits the house. It's just completely irrelevant. That's
Put
the
a fucking net there. It's not my problem.
That's what he said. Legit, he goes, that's their fault for living there. They know what they got into. Well, for hole 6, I agree. For hole 6, I agree. I guess maybe that one maybe is somewhat true. Anyway, let's talk about some sports because I'm tired of talking about Big Dog. We've given him enough attention, and he's not even here. There were last night was one of the crazier nights in basketball. Actually, really the whole past like 4 or 5 days, both NBA and college. But last night, Max Strus hit the second longest game winner, I think it was, in NBA history from pretty close to 3/4 court.
Yeah, it was definitely a few feet behind half court.
It was a good
and
step behind.
It was pure too. No backboard, nothing, straight in.
Straight swish. That was wild. That game was crazy too because they were down, or they were up rather, with the ball with like a second, or like 20 seconds to go, and the Mavs stole it and ended up scoring and taking the lead. Then we had crazy game in Kentucky, Mississippi State in college, which, by the way, I had under 156, and I've been on an absolute tear, as you know, lately. I've probably been somewhere around 75% in the past, like 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And that was the only bet I lost last night. I was 2-1. And that game was under the total with 58 seconds to go. At 154, it hit 156 right at 58 seconds, and then there was 24 points in the final fucking...
It's college basketball for you. You could always count on at least 12. I mean, obviously double norm, but like last minute in college basketball, you're going to have 12 points almost no matter what.
If the foul game starts getting played.
Foul, shot, yeah, I mean, it just depends. But yeah, it always seems like when you need them not to score, those threes when a team's down always go in. It's like, there's another three. There's another three.
I needed less than 11 points in the last 3 minutes. And like, I was like, okay, if this gets to the point where,
it's tied
or a 1 point game and there's not fouling. Yeah. And then of course, it was the worst case scenario, but ended up with Reed Shepherd, the white boy, hitting the game winner. They have him as a lottery pick, which is kind of nuts, actually.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit before. I guess it's just you're used to seeing the little white guy on college basketball teams, but then you realize, I guess he's like 6'3", which I didn't realize.
He's pretty.
He's bigger than I thought, and he is athletic. So
I guess they think he's going to be like I
don't know,
like the full-on white Steph Curry. I don't know, but he is pretty good.
He can shoot it.
Yeah. And then I showed you this one. I don't even know if most people saw this, but Colorado State versus Nevada, which the Mountain West is ridiculous. This happens like every fucking night in the Mountain West. There was a pull-up jump shot by Isaiah Stevens, the point guard, with like 2.5 seconds to go, and then Nevada after Colorado State tied it, Nevada banked in a half-court shot at the buzzer to win that one. I mean, it's been a ridiculous.
Yeah, that kid missing the free throws, 90% free throw shooter, and then banking it in.
3 of 4 in the last 20 seconds.
And then hit a half quarter for the win.
Yeah,
that was pretty sweet.
Crazy.
We're getting close to that time. It's almost March Madness time. It's starting to feel like it.
Some of those small conferences have 2 games left of conference
before
play.
The tournament.
Yeah, we're gonna have
tournaments start not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, tomorrow's March, right? Are we in a leap year? No. Yes,
we are.
We are in a leap year. So tomorrow's the 29th.
Yep.
Okay, so we got one more day till March. But yeah, let's talk about some of the other stuff in the NBA. Oh, actually, sorry. Before we do, God bless Vanderbilt for Bailey last night. I thought if they blew that one, he might have been on suicide watch today.
I was actually, Bailey, I know you just take those games way too serious, and I was going to, if they blew it, I made the decision that I was going to chirp you because it was just such a hilarious loss. It was like a 15-point lead, and I was like, I know Bailey's locked into this. I hope Arkansas wins on a banked-in 3 and be like, and Jerry we trust. Jerry Stackhouse, he's going to be there. Bailey thinks they're going to fire him. They're not going to fire him. They're going to keep him. But yeah, it was funny because obviously I haven't watched Vanderbilt play 1 second of basketball this year, which last year they were a fun team to watch, but it was funny because I saw they were up 15 and I literally almost texted Bailey with 5 minutes left being like, screenshot #basketball school, whatever. But then I was like 15 up. And then right when I was about to do that, they got it to 11. I was like, oh no, they could still lose. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be responsible. But the closer it got, I was like, the closer it got, I was like, man, I hope they hold them off. And I was like, it'd be funny to talk about on the podcast if they blew the lead. So once I got to the end, I was like, okay, I hope Arkansas banks in a 3 to win here. But
did they have a shot to tie
Vanderbilt tried everything they did. Yeah, they turned it over. Yeah, should they? I know Vandy turned it over, and then Arkansas hit a 3 to get it to 1, right? At the very end, and then Vandy made a couple
free throws to get it to 3. Yeah. They they're a shit show over there. But Arkansas has problems of their own, as you detailed to me earlier in the year, right? Isn't there a relationship going on there?
They say there's a funky love triangle going on the Arkansas basketball team.
When you say love triangle, you mean between the players, between the men players.
Yeah. I don't know who originally said that to me. I think it was just, your classic, hilarious 40-year-old men on message boards that have way too much time on their hands. And it was the Texas message board that someone sent in the fantasy football group chat to us was like, check this out. Looks like Arkansas's got a gay love triangle on the team, which is fine. We support everybody here on the show. As you know, not Big Dog, but we do. And so if that's going on, that's fine. But it's caused a lot of. Listen, there's something fucking going on at Arkansas because
it made the Elite Eight the last 3 years.
I think they started pre-ranked in the season in the top 15 or whatever, and they're horrible.
They're horrible.
There's something going on. And Musselman's a slimy little fucker. He could be a part of it too.
Wait, the coach is involved?
Could be. I don't know. I'm taking that. That's my tinfoil hat level up right there on the Arkansas gay love triangle, but he could be involved. Musselman looks like a kind of guy that, has done a few things in his day. So I wouldn't be too surprised.
That would be the story of the year, I think. That would be a Lifetime movie if that was true, I think.
Little Arkansas Brokeback Mountain basketball action. Head coach, couple players.
Brokeback basketball. Oh man, did you see? Razorback Mountain. I like that one. Did you see? I think we talked about it yesterday at dinner. Monty Williams losing his mind after they lost that game. Who was that game to? The Knicks. They lost to the Knicks.
Yep.
Apparently, the guy, Asur Thompson, the #1 draft pick, got his legs taken out on the last play on a loose ball. The NBA did come out and say they got the call wrong immediately after the game. But I don't know. Monty Williams is so annoying to me. I've been saying this since he was at Phoenix. I thought he was a horrible coach. They just had a really good young core. He did an okay job building that team up. You know what? It feels like he was.
Where was he before?
I don't fucking know. He's a loser.
Was Monty Williams he was with the Suns, right? And got fired?
Oh, you're talking about before this. Yeah, he's with the Suns. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I thought you meant before the Suns.
Oh, no.
I don't know where he was before the Suns. But he was at the Suns, And he reminds me of is Mark Jackson with the Warriors. Like got a ton of talent, hand down, man down, hand down, man
Mama,
down.
There goes that man.
That's Mark. That's who he is, though. Like Mark Jackson did a good job of like not winning with a bunch of talent and young guys, and like they got close, but it never happened. And so what they do, they went out and got another coach. Not that Frank Vogel's been any fucking better than this guy, but Monty Williams, had hit his ceiling there. And
I don't necessarily like Mark Jackson's broadcasting at all, but I will say, Mama, there goes that man. It's like a top 5 in sports for me. Calls just when he does it. And I fucking can't stand the NBA, as you know, but it cracks me up when he just says it so serious. Jimmy Butler scores like 10 points in a row, and you just hear, Mama, there goes that man.
He's the worst.
and Jeff Van Gundy just fucking cracking up.
They shit can Jeff Van Gundy. Did you know that? That's ridiculous.
Sad.
He's the only. I actually liked that.
Oh, I liked
combo.
them.
I didn't like Mark Jackson all that much, but I liked the combo of them together. Was actually the best.
And it was
NBA broadcast.
And then
team.
Who was the actual? Was it
Marv Albert?
Marv Albert. It may have been Marv.
I can't remember who the.
Or maybe Mike Breen.
It might have been Mike Breen. Yeah,
it was Breen. Yeah, Van Gundy used to always go on great rants.
He's my favorite.
He would go on.
He annoys me sometimes.
Oh, yeah. At San Antonio, I'll never forget, we were playing somebody like on a Thursday night, and he was bitching about the Mexican food restaurant he goes to, charging 50 cents for a refill of chips and salsa. Mark Jackson's like, you cheap motherfucker. He's like, you can afford 50 cents. He goes, it's not the point, Mark. It's the principle. You don't go to Mexican food restaurants and pay for refills of chips.
Hey, he's got a point.
Yeah, and he does have a point.
That's
and then the other was him.
That's like if you go to some of those. It's not just Mexican food, but it tends to be Mexican food restaurants. And you order a soda for $3 or $2.99, and it's a fucking can. Yeah. That's the worst thing. Yeah. That's my second least favorite thing behind the refill costing money of chips and salsa.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted. Oh
no.
There.
And then he was bitching about one of the funniest ones too. Was he's got 3 daughters at home. I forget the ages, but at the time they were 13 to 8. And One Direction, the band, broke up. And he got on before the game. He's like, let me explain something to One Direction. You're ruining a lot of grown men's lives. You got to get back together. I got 3 girls at home crying that you guys broke up. So if you're out there, One Direction, you better get back together right now. And Mark Jackson was just dying laughing.
I didn't even know.
He goes on some good rants. I had no idea they fired him. That's crazy.
It's when they did all those layoffs or whatever. This was a while back, but I saw that and I was like, wow, of all the people you get rid of, I'm sure he was probably generating a pretty good salary because he'd been there for a while and they were trying to get rid of people. A lot of the people they kept had very low salaries, with the exception of their big time draws like Stephen A. The reason they fired everybody, honestly, is Pat McAfee. They gave him that huge fucking deal.
Yeah, gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, look, I'm not. We're trying to, build a show up similar to how he did. Obviously, ours is going to be a much more difficult road to that. But I liked him at first. I honestly am starting to get kind of annoyed with Pat McAfee. Yeah, it's not that entertaining anymore, that style. And so, it's definitely not a show where I'm getting good information. I'm just doing it. I'm watching it for the entertainment. And it's kind of annoying at this point to me. I'm sure they have a lot of diehard fans. I'm not shitting on Pat McAfee. He's done a heck of a job doing it. But it just, to me, the one thing that bothers me especially, and I get it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do this if I ended up getting big guests like he does. But it seems like every guest he has on there is the greatest guest of all time. It's like the way Jimmy Fallon has guests. Oh, I love it. You're so amazing. Oh, yeah. You deserve all the... he doesn't ever ask any tough questions. It's never anything... and I get it. That's not the type of show he is. But he'll have Aaron Rodgers, for example, who made his show, came out and said that bullshit about Jimmy Kimmel and Epstein not too long ago. And he never addressed it, never said anything, just allows Aaron to make stuff up. That's just not true.
Well, they took him. I mean, after that episode, I think they let him come on one more time. And then McAfee was just Rodgers is at least done for 6 months apparently until football season starts.
Yeah, he'll be right back on the show.
Well, yeah, we'll see. But McAfee was talking about how he's excited that he's well, at least because, even though he may even agree with what Rodgers is saying, right? Who knows? But regardless, he just has to put up with a lot of shit of people being I can't believe you let this guy come on your show. So and ESPN executives who definitely don't like it. So it's like,
yeah.
But anyway,
but they've allowed him to do his show. I mean, I do like that. The only thing I do like about his show is like the way they're able to curse and do things on there. That's the way we're moving towards, and that should just be allowed at this point. Like, especially with the fact that most platforms are moving towards streaming anyway. You know, cable is dying for the most part. I think, I'm not going to say it's going to be gone, but I think most of those channels are just going to all be stream channels at some point in the future. But
it's looking that way for sure.
Oh, I want to talk about Wembanyama, but first, did you see, I know you didn't watch the Texas game last night because I texted you and said that Texas was somehow up 23, but dude, you missed a great ending. So Texas was up by 23, and guess who got ejected from the Texas game? On Texas.
Brock Cunningham?
Nice. Flagrant 2.
Nice.
He tossed the guy into the stands.
I heard weren't Tech fans throwing beers and stuff?
Tech fans started throwing shit on the floor.
That's right on brand, baby.
So
it's what you got to do down 23. You start launching those fucking drinks onto the court.
So they threw drinks on the court after, and they get actually I've seen them warn teams for this. I don't know if I've ever actually seen them give a technical, but they actually gave Tech an administrative technical foul for the fans throwing shit on the floor.
When you're down 20-something, they don't
What
care.
does it matter?
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying I've seen like that's happened before, and like a coach will get on the microphone and be like, "Hey, you need to stop," but they're going to give us a tech.
They probably just made a point of it because the game was over, so they're like, "Oh, we're going to give them a fucking technical." I mean, that's my guess. If that's a 2-point game and that started happening, I assume they'll let the coach get on the mic. When it's 20 points, they're like, "All right, we're not putting up with this shit.
Yeah.
We'll just give them a technical."
Well, and they were throwing it at, I think also part of it was like sometimes they're just like the fans just throw shit like on the floor because they're pissed. They're like throwing shit at the Texas bench, so that was probably
Is that
part
after
of it.
Brock Cunningham got the flagrant 2?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. What did Brock Cunningham do to get it?
I didn't actually see the play. I saw a replay of it, but he basically hip checked the guy into the. It was kind of a Robert Horry move. He hip checked the guy into the stands, into the scores table, and knocked the guy into the stands. And
it would have been great if they just pelted him with if the first one flew and then 30 more came. At that point, you're down 20 points. You make a point.
What do you do at that point if you're an official? Like, is that 30 a technical foul per beer on the floor?
I don't know. It'd be hilarious if it was.
I mean, if there's a place where that's going to happen, it's Texas Tech or Ole Miss. Those are your only two options, really. Or you're going to get 50 beer bottles on a basketball floor. Knoxville. Sorry, Bailey.
Oh,
Knoxville.
how dare you? How dare you take a shot at the good people at Knoxville,
Tennessee.
I
hate it because I actually like Rick Barnes, and I'm kind of rooting for them to do well in the tournament. I'm sorry. I know you hate them. I'm not a Tennessee guy at all. I kind of root against them sometimes because of you, but I like Rick Barnes. He was a Longhorn. This is a good topic. Do you think Wemby is the greatest rookie of all time based on what he's done in the past month? Listen to these numbers the last 10 games. 21 per game, 10 boards, 4 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals, 40% from 3, 60% effective field goal percentage, 85% from the free throw line. I mean, in the last 10 games, in 28 minutes a game.
Yeah, he's been great. I don't know if I'd say he's the best. I mean,
who's better? Who's a better rookie?
Like you said, you have way more NBA knowledge than me. What did LeBron do his rookie season? I mean, I know it was different. It was probably similar, but I mean, different. I mean, here's the thing.
He averaged the same amount of points, less rebounds, or maybe the same amount of assists.
The problem for me is the game. I get that Wemby's doing it in a short amount of time, but I also think, and like I said, he's going to win Rookie of the Year, right? It shouldn't matter how bad your team is.
Right.
He's Rookie of the Year. But LeBron as a rookie, were they okay or terrible? I can't remember his rookie year.
I know his rookie year?
Yeah.
I don't think they made the playoffs, did they?
They make the playoffs? I don't know if they squeaked in or not.
They were 35 and 47.
Yeah, so no.
35 and 47.
In the East, you never know, but I would say
they might have made the team. No, they finished 5th in their own division, so no, they did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, so I don't know. Wemby is having, like you said, I mean, you could definitely make a case for it. The game's obviously changed, so I do think it's a little bit easier to stuff the box score, but I mean, it's definitely a reasonable case to say he is. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of any other rookies that, stuff the stat sheet like he does. So
I think with the only two in the conversation, at least I think it's him and LeBron, but also I think nobody who is a number 1 pick overall besides LeBron has ever performed this well this quickly. Because you look at like I think Bailey told me this, but like look at remember Zion, like what a bust he was the first year. Not a bust, but like just didn't perform to what everybody expected. Everybody thought
Zion's busy eating fucking all the Cajun food he can get his hands on and fucking OnlyFans girls. So
wait,
I mean,
was she an OnlyFans girl that he had the kid with?
Oh,
or got her pregnant or something?
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking
about
a
cocktail waitress.
I'm just talking about the one that was all over the media.
The one who blasted him.
Oh my god, yeah. I was like, oh man, I don't know how he made it through that. I don't know how much he paid her to quit tweeting stuff, but it was bad. I'm just like, what is this guy doing? Like, apparently he was paying her like $250,000 a month. It was something wild, dude. It was crazy. But yeah, anyway, he's playing, like I said, you know me, I don't follow the NBA much, but he's playing well this year, isn't he?
No, he is. No, he's playing very good this year.
Yeah.
I think he averaged a decent amount his first year, but he just was injured and never played.
I saw that Stephen A was taking shots at him being fat and like terrible or whatever, and then the
who's Zion?
Yeah, and the Pelicans put together like a compilation video of him of like Stephen A's like athletic feats where he's like falling down and airballing threes and stuff, and they flashed his like, I don't know, he was like a D2 D3 college player that played like his freshman year, and
Stephen A Smith
he was like on a team, he made like he averaged 1 point a game or something. I think it was like D3, something like that.
It must have been like the worst D3 school in the history of basketball.
Let's see.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Have you seen his boxing videos? They're like the most ridiculous
they put that
ever
on there too.
Yeah, like
just how
they
athletic
showed
he is.
that on some show one time, and even he was laughing. He's like, "No, that was a bad clip. No, don't show. I got better clips than that one." Like, it's pathetic. He is pathetic. I can't stand Stephen A. Smith. What are you looking up? His basketball highlights?
After attending the Fashion Institute Technology for 1 year,
Smith
received a basketball scholarship to attend Winston-Salem State University, a historically black university in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I think he was there for, a week or something, or half a season or something. But yeah, which is just insane that he played college basketball, because I've seen clips of him like punching, bags or trying to shoot 3-pointers. I'm like, what on earth? It's a bad look.
I just looked up. I typed in Winston-Salem. I did not do this on purpose. What do you think the graduation rate is from Winston-Salem State?
Oh, I would rather not say. I don't know. You tell me.
It's 50%. 50%. Which is fucking ridiculous. I didn't. I didn't look up graduation rate. I typed in Winston-Salem State.
It's a coin toss, brother.
It's a coin toss. No, that's because they're transferring to better universities and getting degrees other places. That's why those numbers are skewed. Let's move real quick to. Well, actually, before we do that, I have a couple more college basketball things to talk about. First of all, we have to talk about the court storm. I mean, this has been a topic all week around college basketball. We've had the second incident now with a person getting injured in a court storm, which was let me backtrack. Injured. Kyle Filipowski was injured. Of course, the video looks like he like tries to like seek out the contact and then flops. It almost looks like a flop. And after the game, they said it was his ankle. Then later on the next day, his coach said it was his knee. They couldn't get straight what body part was injured. They did not require any imaging, but he was supposedly questionable for the game today, which he's playing. Look, and then he tweeted after the game, "This has to stop." There's been a crusade to stop court stormings. Now, look, I will say this. When I think about court stormings in general, number one, I'm in the middle on this. Number one, it has gone too far in terms of how often it is happening now. Like, it used to be where we would have a court storming if like the number 1 or number 2 team went down, or if like your biggest rival in a huge game, it was like, really, really close game and your rival is better than you and it ends on a game winner and they might not be ranked 1 or 2, but it's a huge, like, crazy ending and there's like an emotional spur of the moment court storm. That would happen. it's become like a literal like 10 to 15 every week occurrence. Like if you beat a ranked team at home, you storm the court now. And the problem with it is twofold. Number one, you have a bunch of 19, 20, 21, and 22-year-olds who are all just looking for videos and shit to put on their Instagram and TikTok and social media, running on the floor and where they shouldn't be, really. Then you've got a group of kids who have just lost a game that they were supposed to win, which is why they're storming the court, emotional, like Kyle Filipowski probably was after losing to Wake Forest. And you have people running on the floor, like, whether they actually are trying to touch you or not, they're going to touch you. There's 1,000 people running on the floor at once. They're going to shoot
you the bird, tell you to fuck.
Right. Yeah. And we've seen this in college football, especially because the field is so much bigger. They can get away with it, I think, more. It's more closely seen in basketball. Like, everybody sees if something happens in a basketball court. But so just the fact that that's happening is, I don't like that. Number two, you also add the fact that like a lot of these stadiums now serve alcohol. Not that the kids weren't drinking before, but now it's even more accessible. And it's like, so you have drunk college kids running on the floor trying to get shit for social media, and you have emotional college kids who just lost a basketball game that they've really like needed the game or wanted to win the game, right? So that is just a bad combination right there. So I don't like that. I also don't think we need to be like, well, we got to get rid of it completely because one guy. Dude, no. The other thing is Kyle Filipowski should not be in this conversation whatsoever. This has spurred the conversation. That is not an issue. Like, nothing happened. That was ridiculous. In my opinion, he did try to flop. He did try to hit the kid. He instigated it. He wanted this to happen. He wanted the attention. It's what happened. Caitlin Clark did the same thing, and I like Caitlin Clark.
She took a charge on that. When I saw it, she was like looking at the girl, like timing it, and then flopped, and I was like, oh man, this is bad. This is ugly. Yeah. Court storming, I think they do it too much, like you said. I think you touched on everything. They do it too much at this point. They're never going to do away. There's nothing you can do. Like, if someone beats Duke or someone beats, whatever, a number one team in the country, and you have a full gym and the team's unranked, they're going to come on the court whether you want them to or not. You can make it fun and let players assault. Like, if you come within, striking distance of a player, they're allowed to hit you in the face. Like that could make it a little bit more entertaining. Now, you actually touched on everything and made good points. That's the only thing I could come up with. Be like, you know what? If you do get in somebody's face, they are allowed to strike you. That would clean up that would clean up the 5'6" frat kid chirping fucking Amika Okafor coming off the court real quick. It would clean that up. So you do that. You can assault anybody that comes within. Even if you're walking, you can't go out of your way. But if you're walking and they come in, you can smoke them.
Oh, so we have ground rules for this.
Yeah. You can't just actively seek out and go malice in the palace. You can't do that. But if you have some little shit with the phone trying to get the tech, you should be able to knock them out. Charles Barkley would agree with that take too. That's an American. That's a smart take.
It's one of the better takes you've had on the show.
Well, I mean, you touched on all the. Oh, no. Folks, stop the presses.
No.
Big Dog has just walked into the fucking building. Get that fog machine going. Oh, my God. Bailey couldn't figure out how to set up your mic over here. Oh, God. This man, you're looking like $1 million right here. It's plugged in. You just got to hold it. There he is. This man's been shooting. It's right here. This man's been shooting music videos. Get him some smoke. Get him some smoke. All right. Here comes the smoke. All right. Here he goes. No smoke. Coming here to the mic. We've heard very exciting news that broke to the people. 7 big music videos coming from KK Wild. Yes. I mean, my God. You should be running this country.
You know what? It's so good for me to be back here. It is so good for me to be back here. Let's tighten this son of a bitch up.
This is this guy's
Why is
studio.
this falling down? All right, I can hold it up. Now,
it looked like fucking Hurricane Katrina came rolling through here when we got here.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta have some respect for the studio.
Hey, you moved this light?
What do you mean?
All right. I don't want any lights.
I mean, can you fucking? It's so
I don't
ridiculous.
want any lights moved.
You're not.
Please.
No, I'm not kidding. This is your last time on the show. You're not fucking allowed on the show anymore. This is
Let me
it.
tell you something.
No, and we're moving the
When
set.
have I ever listened to you own no real estate?
Snowman.
I own all the cameras.
Snowman strikes again.
You own one camera.
No, I own all the
No,
cameras.
you bought 2 halves of one, which equal uno.
Nope.
Uno camero.
Nope.
Okay? Don't let me go into Vietnamese speaking of a camera.
Nope.
Or Spanish, uno camera. Okay? All right?
You couldn't even come on the show last week because your wife wouldn't let you because you can't control. You couldn't even control what you said. You can't control talking about strippers and midgets on the show, so you got kicked off the show by your own wife because you're pathetic and have no self-control.
My wife does
wife.
never control anything I've ever done.
Well, she
and
sure
we
did
all
last week.
know that, okay?
We sure did last
we
week.
know who wears the pantalones in this familia and la familia, okay? And the white dolphin. But I want to say one thing that I got to – oh, and by the way, I'm going to bring in the guy that does all the major podcasts wants to come see the studio. Patrick just texted
I don't care.
He's a musician. Well, you're screwed because I'll take over the show. I'll do my own show. So
you wouldn't be able to function with the show. You have no ability to
ladies and gentlemen, it's Chris Leak's podcast.
You can't even speak.
It's called Slobberknockers 2 because that's the name I came up with. And
I don't even like the name. I'll change it. I hate the name of the show.
I'll take the name. So my point is, I won't take control of the show. I don't want to rain on your parade. Jolly Green Giant does not like to pee on people's parade. I do that all day, and they don't like that. But anyway, I'm here. I'm back.
He's back.
I'm back,
folks.
better than ever. Better than ever. Been boxing this morning. Now, bottom line is this. I'm going to do my quick take, and then I wanted some fog and some other shit because I'm shooting 7 music videos. By
the way, who's watching those music videos? Nobody watches your band. Nobody knows who you are.
You want to bet we
no
get
one.
around
Zero. Nobody knows who you are.
Each single gets more plays on worldwide plays or videos that I do than this, and I don't want to cut the podcast down, than you will ever see.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway,
sure you will.
Anyway,
Sure
we don't even want to go with that bet. You might lose a lot of money. Okay, now
well, you owe me $37,000, and you lost another. We played golf together last week, and he lost another 100 on me too.
That was incredible.
He was horrific.
Oh my God, it was incredible. But
So
anyway,
bad.
Are your irons coming around?
my irons just came around. I mean,
What
John
happened on the
Daly
first-
said, "Hit my 5 like you're hitting a 9. Don't try to kill it."
What
So I
happened?
listened to John.
What happened when you hit your first drive when we played?
You hit a house, and
No,
I hit
you
straight.
hit a house.
No, you swear to God, you didn't hit a house.
No, I didn't.
You said you hit the house, and I'm embarrassed. I don't want to go that
No,
way.
you hit the house and said, "Fuck them, I'm not going. I don't give a fuck."
You tell those fuckers not to
Look,
build a
he's
house there.
smiling. He knows what happened.
Well, I remember you hit it too.
I didn't hit a house.
Oh well, maybe I hit the house.
You're
You hit the
a
trees.
fucking idiot.
All right. So bottom line, fuck those guys.
They shouldn't
But the
build a
bottom
house
line
there.
is,
I mean,
don't buy a house where I play golf.
yeah,
All right. So the
that's
bottom
Big
line
Dog
is
Alley.
that's my fucking territory. But anyway, let me just say this. I got one take today because I'm going
No
to
one
come
cares
back
about your takes.
revitalized
Nobody cares about your
next
takes.
week because we're going to do a segment from now
No,
on.
you're not
Logo
allowed next week.
Logo flies in for my segment. I want the smoke. We got our
I
own
edit
smoke.
the show.
This smoke machine's rented, but I want my own smoke.
No,
I
if
want
we
my
don't
own-
have, I told you, if we don't have 3 cameras in here next week, we're not shooting here.
you're
I'll
not
take
shooting
the
3
camera.
cameras
I'll take
next
the
week.
cameras and we'll shoot somewhere
But
else.
You can't because you only own one.
Well, I'll take
so
them.
you'll take the one home. You'll
I'll
take
take
your
all
big
3.
ball and go home.
I'll take all
and then
3.
you'll be able to shoot solo out by the pool or something.
All
okay?
3.
Big Dog controls this fucking boat we're in. It's the Titanic, okay?
It's
Without
going
me, it's the
down.
Titanic. But I wanted
It's
to say
going
one
down.
thing. Y'all just witnessed Amateur Hour, and now I'm here. So number one, that's number one.
Actually, the show was going great till you came
The
in.
tournament is coming up, and I am hot as shit on picks on that. So you'll want to put your house and your cars and your titles against what all up on my bets. But here's my take today. I'm going to make it short. I'm liking this one lighting too. It's a little more minimalistic. I like that. Now, real quick, I think when players come on the court, you tase them. If the fans come on, fuck this. You can't. I heard the Bill is talking about Jay. He's an idiot. And all these people talking about what you can do and Duke's coach. And then Mad Dog comes on and shows Duke running the field when they beat Clemson the first game this year or something. How what a contradiction. They all stormed the field, yet Duke's basketball coach is screaming about it. But their football team, all the fans run on the field.
I should let the players assault. Like, if you come within striking distance, a player should be able to assault
because it's
them.
a litigious world. So what you do is first it's a fine, and second you tase the fuck out of them.
Whoa.
And if you
So
see
hold
a
on,
couple
hold
of
on.
convulsing
So-
students, and I don't mean like it's 12 volt. You get it up to 35 fucking volts.
Like a cattle prong.
Not quite.
Hammer them when they
Not
come
quite.
on.
And so you tell them you're going to get tased, and just watch one of those girls convulsing on the ground, spitting out her mouth, and all that stuff, and all these guys. And let me tell you something.
He's laughing about
I
this.
love it.
He's
so we can't hit them, but we can tase them and make them almost die and convulse.
No, you don't tase. You don't make them die. You just tase them. And then
you just said have her convulsing out of her mouth on the ground.
Oh, another idea here. You're gonna like this. What about bear mace?
Bear mace would be good too.
Yeah.
But then again, on
Just
the riots,
on
the riots,
coat of bear
people were
mace.
walking through it.
Push it this way. We'll get the fans out and push it, bear mace, into the student section.
Well, people were walking.
Funnel them out the exits.
People were walking through that on the Black Lives Matter stuff. They were actually getting maced with that stuff.
Those
they
are
were
your
walking
people.
right through it. The kids today were getting maced and kept coming.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because I'm saying we don't want
He's
mace
saying
on
bear mace isn't strong
This
enough.
is strong enough.
Only tasers.
No, tasers. And then if you don't, that doesn't work. You shoot them with tasers. So that's it. And then third, it's rubber bullets after that.
Oh, now we're talking.
But I'm saying,
rubber bullets.
Turn their lights out.
Don't take a bad wussy approach to this problem. You tell those guys, because they're drunk, like at Texas Tech last night. They carried some stupid kid up the steps with 5 people.
Yep. You like that?
Yeah.
He throwing beers on.
Throwing beers on the ground.
You hip check
you
somebody,
go up
you're
and
gonna
you
get beers
tase that mother son of a bitch in the neck. And
Right
you
in the
tase
neck.
him and you knock him out. Then you don't
Never
have to
heard
care.
someone call someone a mother son of a bitch.
You know what you
I don't
do?
that is.
You know what you do? If you do that on national television, it will stop. That's my take. It's a hot take. It's a little more controversial than, let's say, $5,000 fine or $25,000 fine. What's the next one? Oh, you say, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna let
It's a $100,000
we're gonna
fine.
we're gonna let the opposing team leave the floor.
That's what it should be.
No, that doesn't work.
No, yeah.
Tase.
I'm all in.
Tase.
I'm all in for rubber bullets. You got me convinced.
Rubber bullets.
No tasers,
that's
rubber
my-
bullets, nothing lethal. But hey, it's gonna hurt
And
real
I'm almo-
bad when you get smoked with one of those.
I know. Hell yeah.
So you just said before he came on that you don't want to get rid of court stormings. And now you're saying we should tase them and put bear mace on them?
I'm saying
No. Like I'm fine either way. I'm playing both sides here.
That's right.
Oh,
You can
shocker.
let
you're playing both sides?
Now I'm a
No,
big
I
dog.
agree.
I think the players should be able to saw them coming. I said no, listen, I said you don't outlaw it, but if you come with, it's like the Charles
I don't
Barkley
think you
thing where he's
outlawed
like,
it.
everybody will shut the fuck up. If you let one time a year, if you're getting chirped, you have the NBA player, you get to call the fan out to mid-court and beat the shit out of him. That's been Charles Barkley's idea
No,
forever.
he did say that, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So my
You
stuff.
know,
He
okay.
said that like years ago,
Okay,
and he
well,
said it
here-
every year since.
Well, this is the funny thing. What I'm saying is this. I don't care if you do it or not. It's this. It's like the guy that's had 15 beers that doesn't give a shit about getting tased. Let that fucker go out there like the bat that Manu chased, running around that thing, and you chase that motherfucker and you tase him, and all the fans would love it. It'd be like a bullfight. You have 3 or 4 of these guys coming out of the stands, running around because the game's over, and then everybody would hang out and they would watch this event. And it would be human tasing. And it would be it could turn into a halftime show. Think about that. If you win, I'm almost done. Instead of shoot the half-court shot for you win a $5,000, get tased in the balls and see, all right, what the hell? I'm sorry. Get tased anywhere and see if you get through it, you get $50,000.
I like it. I will say this.
It's like the Hangover. They bring you up in the Hangover and they
I will say that
tase
it's
you.
hilarious. That's what I was going to bring up, where it's like, sometimes these big boys take a little bit more power. Feel it. He looks at him, just smokes him right in the neck.
I love that guy.
Feel the power. I like the intensity.
I like the intensity. See, all I'm saying is that, and I'm not being controversial. I swear I would do it like in a D1 school and see how it rides, like out in Abilene.
You're just talking about litigious issues, and then
No,
let's do this.
You
Let's
sign a waiver when you buy the ticket. Listen, you're going to get out of the stands, and then 5 of them get tased.
Yeah, and then one
That's it.
girl dies from a tase, and then what?
No, not that strong.
Stat schmats.
That's
And one goes down, one goes down.
That
I will
was
say this, the
stats.
craziest thing that they still do in any, I don't know if you want to call it a sport, whatever, but the craziest thing that's done anywhere, saw a video of it the other day, is small town rodeos. Like this one was up in Calgary. And they take volunteers from the stands, and 20 of them stand in the circle, and they let a bull out
Oh, I
of
love
the
it.
deal. I swear to God, and the last one in the circle wins like $5,000.
Oh, I've
And the
seen
bull
that.
comes in and just there's some people in there. I don't know how much they've had to drink, but they're not moving when that bull comes by. and they'll hit somebody. And I'm like, how? Basically, you just must sign a waiver that says if you die, you die. But it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my
They'd
life.
show that on Yellowstone one time.
Yeah. But they
right?
really do that at rodeos still. People sign waivers and go up there, and last one out of the circle
That's a real thing.
wins $2,000. And you can look them up on they're wild. Like there was one the other day. There's another one that they do called Cowboy Poker, and they set up a little table.
That's the one they did on Yellowstone.
In 8 little chairs, and the last one in their chair wins, and the bull will come.
How much do they win?
A few $1,000 because I
Oh,
mean,
no,
you
if
got
it
to
was
be
like
fucking,
20 grand, I'd go do that. I go actually do it.
You wouldn't do anything. You're a pussy.
Well, I'm
I'm
not.
You're,
Oh my
you're,
gosh,
you're
I have balls of steel.
Looking up the definition of pussy in the
Godzilla
dictionary.
bees.
You
Now,
literally are a pussy.
I'll see you guys next week for my tournament. My next week's the championship
Tournament
college preview. Tournament preview comes next week. Then my
the tournament's
picks.
not the week after this.
I know
You're
that,
wrong.
but I'm saying the next week is when they start playing the who gets in.
No, it's not.
No, it is.
No.
It's for conference finals.
Yeah, that's not even. We're not going to know.
okay.
We're not going to know who's in next week. So you're wrong.
Yeah, well, but the following week, I'm going to
All
give my
Your
predictions.
dad will have his
Go.
whole bracket set
Get the
up.
fuck
Oh
off.
my God!
Get the fuck off
Now,
the show. Let's
so
go.
let's wrap
Go.
this thing up because I got shit to do in here. All right. Okay.
You just tase him.
He's such a fucking idiot. No, he really is. He's a fucking moron. He's not even funny. I can't.
I do think that
He's a
not that it's good. Listen, not that it's good. I agree with you. Like when we do the show, it's better. But like as far as like shorts or viral clips where he goes, "Hey, just fucking tase him or use rubber bullets." That's something that can potentially go viral just because it's so nuts. Having a serious conversation, your dad goes, "Just fucking tase him." Have a chick convulsing on the floor. She's dying, and that doesn't work. Just rubber bullets. Oh, I'm just like it's just an absolute wild.
I honestly think he would like if he was in charge, he would do that. I think he is heartless enough to do that.
Dude, underneath it all,
Stop.
your dad is like a third world dictator.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say he's a good guy. You're right.
No, well, he's like one of those crazy dictators, like Gaddafi. He's a little eccentric. He's out there, you know. Now, does he kill 50,000 people in his country? Sure, you know, but you know, I mean, we don't make light of that. That's terrible, and there's horrible dictators everywhere. Don't get me wrong, but like that would be your dad. He'd be like, well, you know, they had to go, but you know, we're moving
on to the good stuff.
Yeah. They love the fearless leader. But your dad would definitely be like along the lines of someone like Gaddafi because he would be like Gaddafi was notorious for dressing up really weird, like crazy outfits. He would always have like supermodels with him dressed in like matching costumes. And that would be something your dad would absolutely do.
Oh, dude, I've already got a great idea for the thumbnail now. Yeah, give me the, let's do our segment. We're going to do pretender or contender segment where Turner's going to give me 5 college basketball teams one at a time, and I'm going to say whether they are a real contender for a national championship or a Final Four run or a pretender, and we're excluding the top 3 because I think they're all contenders. Even though I don't like Purdue that much, I think they're a contender. All right, so go ahead. Give me number 1.
Team number 1, the Kansas Jayhawks. Are they a pretender or a contender?
Your Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, most years.
Oh, not only when they're good, right?
That's right.
Okay, Chris.
No, definitely not. Like I always find myself rooting for them. Like I'll pull for Texas Tech first, and then if not, it's always Kansas. It's weird having them in the same conference, but yeah, that's I've been a Kansas fan since I was a young buck. And to be fair to me, I think that's the only team that I've ever jumped on the bandwagon that's like a good national power. Like, you know, I hate the fucking Yankees, hate the Dodgers. I'm not even a Cowboys fan. You know, I know that they're just America's team, but they're not like a powerhouse unless you lived through the 90s like your father. So your dad was probably a Cowboys fan just because the Cowboys were good back then.
I mean, it's very possible.
And he stuck with them. That's why he's a Lamar Jackson Ravens guy now.
Well, that's exactly true.
Yes,
Great
yes,
point.
yes.
But I do think Kansas is a pretender. Early in the year, actually really not even early in the year, like maybe 3 weeks ago when they played Houston at home and they just demolished them, I thought maybe they were a contender. That was the best they had looked all year. But my issue with them the entire year has been their lack of depth. We watched them early in the year. They had that kid starting who was like an All-American freshman. I forget his name. His last name is Jackson, but he has like a weird first name. He's a bum. And they had to take him out of the starting lineup. They tried to put in this kid, Nicholas Timberlake, who was a transfer from Towson, who's in his like 6th year, who was like a 44% three-point shooter and averaged like 18 points a game at Towson last year. He's been terrible at Kansas. They pulled him out. And then they found a kid, Johnny Furphy, who's like a freshman from Australia, who's going to get drafted. He's really good. But like McCullers has missed like 4 games. When they have anybody out or injured, Harris has been injured as well, a little bit banged up. They've just been so much worse. They lost at home last night to BYU. BYU just not great, and you're playing at Allen Fieldhouse, one of the toughest places to win in the country. I don't know. I think
it seems like the lack of depth's the big issue this year. Like you said, starting 5 is good, and it has been bad because you can tell that Harris has been hurt all year. I don't know what's going on with him. So
the last
looks
3
like
weeks.
a leg. Yeah, I mean, it's just it hasn't looked nearly the same. So
Dickinson was 6 for 15 from the free throw line last night in the game. He's an
weird.
80% free throw shooter.
I was about to say he's usually. I would have guessed that he's in the mid 70s. Yeah, he makes a lot of free throws.
He's been struggling lately. I know they beat the shit out of Texas, but I do think if Kansas doesn't get a 2 seed, I think they could get bounced in the first round. I wouldn't be shocked. Now they could go deep if they're healthy and they can rely on their starting 5 and get like healthy and don't have like foul trouble, they could go deep. But yeah, to me they're a pretender.
Number 2 on the list here is Auburn. Pretender or contender?
This is an absolute contender for me, and I'm not a Bruce Pearl guy.
I love Bruce.
I think he is a below average coach. He's a great recruiter. And he does a really good job of building programs. He did it at Tennessee. He's done it at Auburn. But the one thing I like about this Auburn team, they are good on both sides of the ball for the first time ever since they've had Bruce Pearl as their head coach. That one year they went to the Final Four. They were like a top 10 offensive team with Jared Harper and Bryce Brown. But they were not good defensively whatsoever. You know, funny enough, that year, they should have lost in the first round to New Mexico State. New Mexico State had 3 free throws down by 2 with 1 second to go and went 1 for 3. The kid was like an 87% free throw shooter. Anyway, then at that point, they got to the Final Four. They should have won in the Final Four against Virginia. Same thing. They were down by 2 and fouled on a 3, or up by 2 and fouled on a 3, and the kid made all 3 that time. But yeah, they're number 1 in defensive efficiency in the country, and they're 15th in offensive efficiency. I think they are a contender. The SEC, in my opinion, is the 2nd best conference in the country, and they've done an incredible job winning consistently in that conference this year. They've got depth, they've got toughness, they defend, and then they finally can score. This kid, Janai Broom, who, by the way, cost me some big fucking money last year when I bet on them against Houston in the tournament. They were up by 14 at halftime. I think the kid went 1 for 11 from the fucking free throw line. Cost me that game. But he's been outstanding this year. He's in the conversation for SEC Player of the Year. I think they're a contender. I think they could definitely make a Final Four run.
I agree. I'd say they're a contender. Bruce Pearl can't coach a lick, which is a problem, but he can recruit. Number 3 here, Iowa State. Pretender or contender?
Do you think I'm going to say pretender or contender here?
You're going to say contender.
I am going to say
Iowa
contender.
State.
I really like Iowa State.
They defend pretty well, and just depends what they can do scoring-wise.
And that's actually why I like them. They actually, for the first year, score offensively relatively well. They're not like a juggernaut offensively.
I think Barstool put the stat out. It was out there somewhere that so every national champion, you know what stat I'm talking about? It's like every national champion was top 40 in offense efficiency and then top 20 in defense.
Yep.
The last 15 years. I'm making up the number, but yeah, they're one of the teams that's in that metric.
They're just inside of 40 on offense and they're
defense
3 on defense.
Yeah.
I think they might.
It's crazy to see that Houston was I think Houston's number 8, number 1.
Yeah, but the one thing I don't like about those numbers is Houston is number 8 offensively, right? That's because
they rebound so well.
Yeah, and they factor in offensive rebounding percentage to offensive efficiency, and it's really hard for me to pick a team who relies on that so much in the tournament setting. It's just, you have one bad off night rebounding where the ball doesn't bounce your way and just, good luck. But yeah, I mean, Iowa State, they shoot 36% from 3. That's top 70 in the country. So It's not like they can't shoot the ball. Last year when they lost in the tournament to Pittsburgh, it was like the ugliest thing I've ever seen. They just could not score.
That's why I still can't get that out of my head.
Scored
Didn't they have
38
7 points like 15 minutes into the game or something?
They did. It was horrible.
I do remember that. That's what I'm like thinking to myself. Those guys can't score a lot just because that one game.
Yeah.
Number 4 on the list, Duke, pretender or contender? I know what you're going to say.
You already know. It's pretender. They're a fraud. Duke is an absolute fucking fraud. Kyle Filipowski sucks. He's a bum. I think he's overrated. John Shire just needs to shut up already. He just is he wants the attention of like everything. Everybody's against us and everybody doesn't want us to win. They're attacking our players. Shut the fuck up. Duke has every resource known to mankind. They have the best home court advantage in the country. They should win the national championship 4 out of every 10 years. Maybe that's a little bit extreme, but something like that. They should win a couple every decade. And they're just not that good this year. They're too young. They have too many guys that are question marks. They shoot the ball well. Their defense is an absolute sieve. They're horrible defensively. And the ACC is atrocious this year. Virginia has been 3rd in the ACC all season. They have not scored over 50 points in 3 consecutive games. They've been in the 40s. 45, 49, 43. It's joke.
Not surprising. We saw them play Wisconsin early in the year, and I was like, they could be out here all day and not score 100 points. They're terrible. Number 5, pretender, contender, is Tennessee. And before you go, I'm going to state this. Bailey's going to love this. I think UConn's going to win the national championship. But in my bracket, because there's going to be a million people that take UConn, I'm going to pick Tennessee to win the national championship before you go.
You might be two of us. Might be 2 of us picking Tennessee because I really, really like this Tennessee team. They're an absolute contender. In my opinion, they're the 2nd most complete team in the country behind UConn. They have a stud point guard in Zakai Ziegler who tore his ACL last year and didn't look the same early in the season. He looks like himself again. He's averaging like 3 or 4 steals the last like 7 or 8 games. He's been phenomenal defensively. If he's making shots, they're almost unbeatable. So he's really good. They have Jonas Adu, who's a legit big man who scores double-digit points and averages close to 9 rebounds. And then they have who I think is the best scorer in the country in Dalton Connect, who I think the Spurs should 100% draft, by the way. Their defense is always good. Rick Barnes always finds a way to lose in the tournament. He's had a lot of bad luck, a couple of really unlucky losses. Also part of it is he just teaches his guys to fucking foul. So when you get an official who just calls a game tight, they get in trouble. But I think Tennessee is a legit contender. This is the year they might actually get to a Final Four. I hope they're not in UConn's bracket because if they're not, I probably will have them at least in my Final Four, if not in my national championship. But they are an absolute contender.
Another reason going into my pick is that Bailey's had a bad year. Titans lost their head coach. Vanderbilt's in fucking shambles. It just seems like this is a year Tennessee wins the national championship.
I mean, would he?
He's like, you don't know idea how bad it would be.
Would he swan dive if they won?
I would hope not. He actually went to school at Tennessee, which is just hilarious.
It is hilarious.
The hatred.
Okay. Real quick, let's go back. Last week we did picks for our game. Yep. I'm going to ask you if you want to make any switches here. So, I'll go first since you went first on the last part last time, and I am going to make a switch here. So one of my top 10, remember it has to add up to 7 or more on the ranking. So I have Purdue, who still remains at 2, and my other one I picked was Alabama. I really did not like how Alabama showed this week, and so I am going to change. I'm going to trade Alabama, and I am going to pick up. Let me make sure I already don't have. Okay, I'm going to pick up Iowa State instead of Alabama. That's who I'm going to pick up. And so that'll be my first move. I'm holding on to Purdue, but for my top 10, I'm going to pick up Iowa State and drop Alabama.
And in that top half, I have UConn.
You have UConn and Tennessee. Do you want to leave them?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then I'll give you an option. Your next ones, your 3, remember they have to be from different conferences. Your 3 that were in the, I think it was 10 to 35, are the Jayhawks, Kentucky, and Creighton. Do you have a one move you want to make? And if you pull up the net rankings, I can. By the way, so like for the picks, if your team that you picked outside of the top 10 moves into the top 10, you can hold on to them, and it will still count as an outside top 10 team. But if you switch, it's the new rankings you're using. That's the rules. So. Anybody you want?
No, because I know who you have down here, and like I may switch from one of those teams, but no, I'm just gonna keep who I got.
You're gonna keep who you got?
Yeah.
Okay,
I need Kansas to get healthy, but yeah, I can keep who I got.
I'm kind of thinking I might switch one of these.
Kansas is just so veteran; they've looked bad, but I think that they could be a team that, if Harris does get healthy, that those guys. I agree with you. They've looked bad, so I mean, you never know in the tournament. You get bounced by a 13 seed or whatever.
Actually, I'm gonna hold on to mine 3. I like my 3. They've all done pretty well this week. Marquette, Baylor, and Illinois. Okay, what about mid majors? You've got Grand Canyon and McNeese State. Grand Canyon lost back-to-back games. You holding on to them?
Do I want to hold on to Grand Canyon? Who do you have down here again?
I have James Madison and Indiana State. You have Grand Canyon and McNeese State.
I'm gonna piss you off and switch. I'm gonna take Prince. I'm gonna take out Grand Canyon. I'll give them to you. I'll take Princeton.
Oh, fuck off. That's literally who I picked last week, and you talked me out of them. Like, no, they're not. You're like, they're in 3rd place in the conference. I'm like, yeah, but they're the best team in the conference, and now they're in first place. Now they're in fucking first place again.
Cornell
fuck
lost.
you.
Yep.
No,
Princeton's
fuck you.
mine.
No, I'm sticking with mine. I like Indiana State and James Madison, but we will have the option. If our teams in those mid-majors don't make the tournament, we will have the option that week to switch them to somebody else who does make it. But I like Indiana State still. I think they're the best
Princeton's
team.
a weird one. Well,
I still think, you know what?
Well, that's the thing, though. If I were you last week and those were the rules, then I would have taken Princeton because if they don't get in, you get a chance to change it, then I would have gone Princeton.
Yeah, but I like James Madison a lot. I'm actually debating right now if I want to see what James Madison did this week. But even though Grand Canyon, I can't move off from James Madison. They're playing too good. I like Grand Canyon a lot.
So now I have McNeese.
Yeah,
and
you have McNeese and you have Princeton. So I'm gonna switch Grand Canyon to Princeton. Okay, and then you didn't change anything else, right? That was the only switch you made. And I switched Alabama. I switched to Iowa State. I want to talk about a few more things here before we get out of here. And if we go over here, I guess we'll have to cut some of this, but hopefully we're not. Okay, I want to talk about a few things in the NFL, and then I want to talk a few things about Caitlin Clark and something that happened. Okay, so I don't know if you saw this. There's a new proposed rule change for the NFL, the kickoff rules. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah, they are proposing, this is going to be like a legitimate proposal, that they change the rule to the XFL style of kickoffs, which the XFL style of kickoffs essentially is there's one returner back deep. There is the kicker lined up on his own 30-yard line. The rest of the returning team is lined up on their own 30, and the kicking team is 5 yards away from them on the 35-yard line. The ball is kicked to the returner, and nobody can move until the ball is fielded. So once it's fielded, then you're 5 yards away, and then there's collision.
But there's no touchbacks,
So
right?
there is touchbacks, but I'm assuming you cannot fair catch for a touchback anymore, because a touchback comes out to the 35-yard line, which is ridiculous.
So yeah, it's a pit. So it's basically
it's forcing the return to happen with less collisions or less violent collisions.
I'll tell you what, I actually typically I'm against rule changes. I didn't necessarily like the way it looked in the XFL. It was weird because it would take getting used to. But if are they gonna adopt the 15-yard
onside
conversion
kick?
onside
They didn't
kick?
say that part.
Oh, if they were gonna do that, I would be all in on it because I get that it's weird too, but it's just onside kicks, man. I don't know. Actually, in the NFL, I wouldn't get rid of it just because it's like, look, if you're down, then you should have to get an onside kick.
I just think that,
but the rules that they've changed the onside kick, it's almost impossible to get one.
I know.
That's the thing that sucks about it.
I agree with that.
If it was old school onside kick rules where you could just knock the shit out of each other or stack aside, that should be what it is. But with even sides, and then you can't hit anybody until the ball goes 10. It's just like there's too many rules.
No, with the rules now, I completely agree. I hate the rules now, but I will say I don't like the 15-yard one only because I think a 3rd and 15 in the NFL, like, what's the conversion rate? It's probably 15-20%. I mean, that's too high to me. I agree. They should go back to the old onside kick rules. They'll never do that. Maybe they'll come up with something better. I just think my issue with this is this changes two things. Number one, it changes statistics a whole lot based on where your starting field position is, because you are actually now incentivized to not kick a touchback, because a touchback would be the 35-yard line. So you're kicking it in play, ideally. And probably the average starting field position, I would assume, is going to come to be shorter. Like you have your better field position, I would think, right? Or no, because they're starting at the 30-yard line. I don't know, maybe not, but
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they've crunched the numbers and it's
probably relatively the same.
fairly close, and they're just trying to have more actual kickoffs because
just touchback and fair
it's
catch.
Nothing but touchbacks now.
Well, they've made it that. That's their fault for getting rid of the collisions.
Agreed.
They should just.
But I mean,
if you don't want to play football, don't play fucking football. I mean, what are you doing? What does it matter?
I agree with. Yeah, I mean, the touchback rule sucks because it's nothing but touchbacks. But I mean, I get if you're a team, why would you ever? I would never return a ball. Just take it at 25.
100%.
The odds of you may return one a year, right? You might return one a year, and you're going to get 16 penalties on kickoffs a year and move you back inside the freaking.
Why anybody returns kicks
line.
is beyond me.
It's crazy. So I don't know. I don't.
I would rather.
I would say I'm like impartial to it. I don't really give a shit, but I would like them to have less touchbacks, and if this is the way to do it, I guess it's fine. I don't know.
I would rather them look at like things that actually matter. Like to me, just leave this alone or go back to some of the old kickoff rules. I don't think this needs to be changed right now. Why don't you look at something that matters? Like, for example, we should be able to review all plays upstairs quickly the way they have the expedited review now. Yeah. That needs to happen now, including penalties. And I'm not saying we should review every penalty. I'm just saying, like, okay, if there is like, a face mask called in the fourth quarter, and upon review, he grabbed his shoulder, it's like buzzed down. Hey, that wasn't a face mask. Pick the flag up. Let's move back and let's go. I think about the fact the Cowboys-Lions game, they call that tripping on Dallas late in the game, which caused that game to extend and the whole controversy at the end of the game with the ineligible receiver to happen. If they would have just had a review right there, hey, this guy didn't trip anybody. Actually, the only guy who could have been called for a trip was the defender and Aiden Hutchinson, and now like that play's done. We're back at 2nd and inches. The game's over. That should be reviewable. It's easy. The way they do the expedited reviews nowadays, like the ones they did this year, aren't they pretty easy and quick? Right? They get them done pretty easily. It's like boom, we're done. We move it back.
2 seconds.
2 seconds. They can easily do that. And they need to also. We've talked about this. They need a. I came up with a good idea for defensive holding. I think that it should be 5 yards from the spot of the foul and not an automatic first down. That way, if you get a hold and it's like, 3rd and 6, and it's a hold at like 1 yard short of the sticks, that matters because he might have broke the tackle and got it. It's a penalty. It's an extra 5 yards. And because it was a 5-yard penalty from the spot, it's a first down on 3rd and 6. But if it's 3rd and 27 and there's a hold 5 yards down the field, okay, well, it's a 5-yard penalty from that spot. Now it's 3rd and 15 again. That's one I like.
Oh, yeah.
Actually.
The automatic first downs for the holds are absolutely ridiculous. Or hands to the face, automatic first down. Like those penalties should not be automatic first down penalties. No. And never. Unless it's a personal foul, it should not be an automatic first down.
It's ridiculous. I don't even like the personal fouls being first downs. Last NFL thing. Did you see what Russell Wilson said? He's going to win 2 Super Bowls in 5 years, baby.
Yep.
Broncos country, let's ride. He's
ready to go. That's your dad's boy. He's ready.
I've heard that the rumors are he might go to the Steelers if the Broncos will deal him, which I think they would, if the Steelers would actually take that contract, which I don't know that would be such a bad fit, actually. You got some good receivers there.
No, I mean,
it'd
be much better than what they currently have.
Kenny Pickett. I mean, I
just don't know if they're ready to give up on Pickett yet. I think they're going to give him one more year, but I don't know.
If you had the option,
say that Mason Rudolph is going to. I heard that the Steelers are also looking to potentially get Fields.
Oh no, I did hear that, but I don't know if that would be a good fit.
I don't know if that'd be a good fit. I don't know if it would be.
What would you do? Would you go after Russell Wilson if you were the Steelers?
Pay that contract?
Yeah, no, not even for 2 years.
Because the Steelers aren't ready to win a Super Bowl. They could. I mean, like, I just don't. Listen, if you got like elite Russell Wilson, like when his prime in Seattle, then sure. But like what he's looked like, but I'm just saying what he's looked like lately. No, I'm not spending that kind of money to bring him in to win one more game and then get bounced in the playoffs.
By the way, my dad, I listened to Colin Cowherd today. I was just trying to get an idea of what they talked about this week.
Boy.
He said that he loves Matt Nagy. You know that the Chiefs basically eliminated the need to use Matt Nagy because he was so bad. This is the guy, my dad's favorite talk show guy. He has takes every single day. That show, he knows nothing about football. He knows nothing about sports. He's the biggest fucking clown on television. And that's my dad's favorite guy. Is that not the most, like, non-ironic thing ever?
All of them. It's hilarious.
He likes all the idiots. Yes, he likes all the worst guys.
That's my guy, Nick Wright. He's a genius.
Did you see this Cheryl Swoops, Caitlin Clark thing? Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Cheryl Swoops went on, Gilbert Arenas has a podcast.
Oh, yeah. I almost sent the clip to your dad and you, and I forgot to do it. Did you see when they had, did you see him and Kwame Brown go at it the other day?
Gilbert Arenas?
And Kwame Brown.
Like fight?
On the podcast.
Like physical fight?
No, like Kwame Brown's, dude,
well,
saying words, yeah, to him that I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe this is even on the internet. Like, oh man, it was bad. And they were going at it. It was fucking funny. They were going at it. He's like, you're dumb. He's calling Gilbert dumb piece of shit, motherfucker, bringing your gun around like you're a tough guy. It's like, you dumb. Just like, and Gilbert's like taking it, getting ready to go back at him. I forgot that Kwame Brown was the number 1 overall.
He's the biggest
pick.
bust in NBA history.
Number 1 overall pick. You don't know that pressure, like going after him. I was like, oh my God.
No, he was the biggest bust in NBA history. Well, he went on like a tirade not too long ago.
Oh no, he's nuts.
Yeah, he was like tearing everybody down. Stephen A. Smith, all that. Like it was crazy. But so that podcast is kind of ridiculous anyway in itself. They got like they actually have a cool kind of little setup. They have like a big ass set with like a little couch and seats and everything. But Cheryl Swoops, and if you don't know who Cheryl Swoops is, then you're probably a normal human being because she's just a WNBA player who used to play basketball, who was, I guess good for the WNBA at the time, which isn't saying much. And earlier this month, she went on Gilbert Arenas' podcast and basically tried to downplay the significance of Caitlin Clark's scoring and her record. It came off really bad. It came off as like jealous, and she started saying shit, like making shit up. She claimed Caitlin shot 40 shots a game, which is like not even remotely close. She was saying that she's not going to be a good pro, a few other things. Basically made herself look like a complete idiot and got a ton of heat on the internet. Like hate tweets and things like that. So supposedly she comes back and supposedly she apologized to Caitlin privately. She didn't do it publicly, which is dumb because you're getting so much hate. You might as well have just done it publicly. And she comes back on the show yesterday or 2 days ago and basically doubles down. And she said this, and I'm going to quote it. I got to find it right here. She said, first of all those people who called me racist, black people can't be racist. That was a legitimate quote that she said. She said, black people can't be racist. Let me read you the Merriam-Webster definition of racism so we know. Having, reflecting, or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. I'm pretty sure by that definition that any race can be racist towards any other race. And if you want to call it prejudice and not racist, whatever. To me, they're basically the same thing. If you're talking about a similar ideal there, the audacity. And Gilbert Arenas is sitting there like, yep, yeah, like doesn't say anything back the whole time. Look, first of all, she's a sociopath. Okay, she's jealous. She's a complete loser. Number one. Number two. Look, if I'm looking for analysis or opinion on pro basketball or basketball in general, the last person I'm asking is a current or former WNBA player. What the fuck could they tell me about basketball other than how to airball a free throw or miss a layup? They don't fucking know anything. Specifically, Cheryl Swoops, who thinks she knows something because she won MVPs in the WNBA with 4 fucking teams. She averaged 18 points a game and 4 rebounds the year she won MVP. It's an absolute fucking joke. And she continued on there saying, if you haven't, the people who talk to me, they haven't watched a WNBA game. And if you haven't watched a WNBA game, those girls, they're for real. They can play. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't know what the fuck? They're horrible. That's the most, nobody watches that shit. And the only reason anybody watches any of girls basketball is because of Caitlin Clark. So please, Cheryl Swoops, shut the fuck up. Go away. You're not qualified to talk about anything. You're not remotely intelligent. and you are a fucking racist. So go fuck yourself.
I'm going to leave it at that. I don't talk women's hoops, so Dylan's got it covered.
You're welcome. Did you see the cost of the Iowa-Ohio State ticket, by the way? The Caitlin Clark, Iowa.
There's not a lot to do in Iowa, bro.
Dude, yeah, but my point being, well, this is the top two teams. It's Ohio State beat them.
Is Ohio State good?
They're number 2 in the country. Iowa's number 5. This is on Saturday. Ohio State beat them. That was the court storming earlier this year. But Ohio State wasn't as good at the time. Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten. Well, Iowa's not going to win the Big Ten. Iowa and Indiana.
Ohio State beat them both times?
They beat them once, but they're 2 games ahead with 2 to play, and they play a bad team the game before. They think they might play tonight. So unless they choke tonight, then they will be conference champs, not Iowa. But listen to this. For a non-general admission ticket, how much do you think it costs to get in?
$200.
$491. Now, I will say, I did go online to SeatGeek, and I found a cheapest ticket at $300. That was the cheapest I found on SeatGeek.
Like I said, there's nothing to fucking do in Iowa.
The average ticket cost to this game is $577 to go to this game. For reference, the average cost to go to the Duke UNC game this year is $723. So it's not that far off from a Duke UNC men's game. Now, I'm not saying I would pay either of those prices to go see a basketball game, but if I had a bunch of money, maybe I would go see a Duke UNC one time. I would pay to go see Caitlin Clark. Don't get me wrong, but that's crazy. I mean, the only thing is I think it's valid to bring this up because it shows you what she's done for the sport.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. And people are paying it. That thing's going to be sold out. There's going to be not an empty seat in that arena. For that amount of money is pretty ridiculous.
Corn farming must be on the up and up this year.
Do you think Missouri and DePaul, they're both going for winless conference seasons, their entirety of their season?
Who is it?
Missouri and DePaul, both of them. Do you think either of them gets there? DePaul's got to, right?
DePaul is not going to fucking win a game. Missouri is terrible, but like they could play, I don't know who they would play in the SEC and potentially win a game, but it's possible.
So here's Missouri's remaining schedule. They have 4 games left. At Florida, no shot. Versus Ole Miss, that's their only opportunity, I think. Maybe they play at LSU too, maybe versus Auburn. Those are their 4.
Yeah. They have like maybe a 20% chance of, to
winning one.
25.
They're 0-14, and they're trying to go 0-18. DePaul lost to Georgetown by 1. Your boy Ed Cooley pulled it out. It came down to the last possession. Your boy Ed Cooley pulled it out.
Good for Ed.
Yeah, Benedict Arnold.
Fucking piece of shit. Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know that was a 1-point game, but I knew that was DePaul's only chance. Is Georgetown, were they winless going into that? They beat somebody, right?
I think they beat DePaul both times. Yeah, I think that's the only team they've beat.
DePaul's horrible. The fact that it's a 1-point game is nuts.
It came down to literally the final possession. In fact, Georgetown had to score with like 10 seconds to go. They got fouled. Yeah, their only wins, Georgetown, are a 3-point victory at versus DePaul and a 1-point victory at DePaul. Those are their only Big East wins. They're 9-19 overall, 2-15 in the conference.
Yikes!
I'm sorry, 0-16 in the conference, 3-24 overall.
Terrible.
Yeah, they can actually go. They can go 0-19. That might be a record. That might be an actual record. Yeah, I guess that's about it. There's some high school playoffs going on still. We got some local teams left. Veterans Memorial still in. They play on Friday. I think they're going to go to the state tournament. Bernie champion lost to Wagner, so Wagner's still in. Probably Wagner versus Veterans, they're from the same district. That's going to be probably the final, but Veterans smacked the shit out of them both times they played in district. And then you got great action on the 6A front with Stony Point playing Brennan. Those are the 2 best teams in 6A, and then O'Connor and Lake Travis.
Seems like Stony Point's good at just about everything these days.
They got a lot better recently.
Like they had a good I know they had a kid in baseball last year that was like throwing 100. They got drafted, so
they got two Division I kids on their basketball team, maybe 3. Yeah, they're pretty good. So those games are on Friday here in San Antonio.
And don't forget, next week, Big Dog will try to come in the locked door to give his conference basketball previews and picks, which you guys are definitely going to want to hear.
Which is going to be given 3 weeks before Selection Sunday and before the conference tournaments even start. I don't know how we're going to pick them, but we will.
Basically Joe Lenardi but better.
Maybe I'll do a bracketology
Rockstar
segment.
Joe Lenardi. Yep.
What am I saying? He's not allowed back on the show. I forgot. I don't know why we're acting like he's coming back next week.
Oh, he'll be here.
Um,
He'll be here.
By the way, make sure to like and subscribe and check out some of our other content. I've been doing some daily best bets on there. Check out my website, www.dylanleak.com. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Check out our my interview with Booby Miles, which I posted a few clips of and going to be posting some more. I think that's going to be
it's
really
good. The audio
interesting.
turned out much better than I thought with him, talking from prison. I didn't know how it was going to work out. You holding into the mic actually worked.
Well, that was a backup, but really I was just so I could hear it because it was so loud. But I actually recorded it on like a phone recorder app on my phone. But that's why I was able to make it sound a little bit better.
It sounded good.
It was all right. It was pretty good for having a phone call. But anyway, make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out our content. Thanks for tuning in this weekend or this week. Hopefully we'll be back earlier next week. Maybe we'll have 3 cameras. Maybe we'll have no set. I have no fucking idea. I don't know what we're doing.
Never know. It's Big Dog's world. We're just living in it.
I mean, it's just we have the crazy narcissist, sociopathic psycho running our set in the studio. So that's the fucking problem here. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.